find it interesting when we talk about diversity, how artificial the diversity that we're trying to create really is. Now, I'm all for diversity. I think that there are areas where I don't think diversity is a good idea, but I think overall, I think diversity is good. I think that that's what makes the marketplace of ideas, and I think that's what makes the market, the economy. That's what makes everything so great, and how we can build off each other, and we can do all these great things. So I think that there's a value to diversity, but I think there's this cultic drive for diversity. I call these people diversicrats or diversiphiles. It's a religious thing to them. And they're the same people that are, the tolerance tyrants. And they're the same people promoting multiculturalism. Which, in moderation, all of them are fine. But this cultic drive is absolutely nonsense. Have you ever noticed how selective diversity is? I mean, where's the men's department? Where is that? I mean, we got a women's department, right? What about we got these feminists, right? We talk about feminism. What about male chauvinism? Where's the male chauvinist department? What about the patriarchist organizations? What about white clubs or heterosexual pride, parades? Well, you don't see any of that. Well, why not? Why don't you see any of that? That would make it diverse. I've contended in it. People say, oh, you're really arrogant to say this. This show here helps make Olivet diverse. The Olivet right is diversity at Olivet College. If it wasn't for us, everything else would be the same, a bunch of leftists. Now, tolerance is the same thing. Has anyone ever noticed how intolerant the tolerance tyrants are? They're selective about it. They tolerate abortion, but not those who call it baby murder. Oh, heaven forbid that. They celebrate gay pride, but they send kids home for wearing straight pride shirts. And I actually know a couple of these kids that wore straight pride shirts and got sent home. They embrace moral relativism, but they say that banning gay marriage is unjust. They tolerate Darwin's myth that we descended from ape-like creatures, but censor the idea that the natural order is the result of intelligent design. They advocate the idea that there is no such thing as absolute truth, but don't you dare tell them that's wrong. Don't you dare. I remember somebody said, one of the teachers, when I first came here, they made the statement, a bunch of kids made the same statement, and they all agreed, and they said, well, there's no such thing as absolute truth. And I said, well, is that absolutely true? Is it? If it's absolutely true, then you have absolute truth. If it's not absolutely true, then there can be absolute truth. Either way, you've just hung yourself. Your argument hung itself. But have you ever noticed how multiculturalism tends to leave out the dominant culture? I mean, we had this really bad magazine, or a newspaper, on campus, and it was deplorable. It was a anti-Semitic, anti-black newspaper, and I believe it was called the Nationalist Times, and it was absolutely deplorable what was said in there. But at the same token, we had a newspaper called the Michigan Citizen, if I remember the name correctly, and they promoted in there hate mongers such as Louis Farrakhan and people from the Black Panthers. These are hate groups according to the Southern Poverty Law Center. And they were being put up by the Multicultural Department. No problems, no sparks, no nothing with the Michigan Citizen. But they definitely had sparks with the white nationalist paper, and rightly so. Rightly so. But I just think it's rather selective for them to sit there and say this kind of racism and intolerance is okay, and this kind's not. I think all racism and intolerance of this nature is bad. But if you're gonna promote one, and you're gonna put out some paper from the Multicultural Department, at least be an equal opportunity racist. And then I found out, this is classic. I guess they're still doing the Fueling Racism seminars. Unbelievable. I got something here from Peggy McIntosh. She's one of the people working with the National Resource Center for the Healing of Racism. She said this: my schooling gave me no training in seeing myself as an oppressor, as an unfairly advantaged person, or as a participant in a damaged culture. I mean, were you looking to get training to be told you were an oppressor and an unfairly advantaged person? I mean, what do you want him to do? That's like, what is it, sadistic? Were you like, is it sadism or masochism? Which one is it? You're sadistic if you like pain. She said this: I've met very few men who are truly distressed about systemic, unlearned, or unearned male advantage and conferred dominance. What do you think? You think we're going to be bummed out? Oh, I'm bummed out that I'm part of a dominant culture. I'm really bummed out that I happen to have all these advantages that make life easier for me. Of course you're not going to be bummed out about that. Oh, but they need to manipulate you. Guilt manipulation. That's what they thrive on. I got this. I saved this. I'll save this forever. National Resource Center for the Healing of Racism White Privilege Checklist. Talk about nonsense.